I Dared to Call Him Father by Bequeath Sheikh is the story of a Muslim woman's radical conversion to Christianity. Bequeath was part of a prominent Muslim family in Pakistan. After the death of her parents and rejection by her husband, Bequeath started reading the Quran to find her purpose. On a search for truth, Bequeath noticed how the Quran mentioned Jesus many times and decided to get a Bible as well to see what Christians said about him. Bequeath was first affected by the verses of Romans 9:25-26. Puzzled and intrigued, Bequeath decided to visit some of the local Christian missionaries, David and Synove Mitchell. They spoke to her about Christianity and encouraged her in her path. That night, Bequeath began having surreal dreams of John the Baptist, the Trinity, and other things of the Bible. One of her dreams was of a perfume salesman. He bought a bottle of fine perfume and he said that it would spread throughout the world. Puzzled, Bequeath started reading the Bible and was led to 2 Corinthians 2:14, which says, "Thanks be to our God who leads us, wherever we are, on Christ's triumphant way, and makes our knowledge of him spread throughout the world like a lovely perfume." Comforted by the fact that there were biblical correlations to the dreams she had been having, Bequeath started reading the Bible and seeking the truth more than ever. Bequeath spoke with a nun named Dr. Pia Santiago one day while at the hospital. Noticing that Bequeath had a Bible, Santiago asked her about it, and Bequeath shared that she was in search of God. Santiago encouraged her to address God as her Father. This was almost unheard of for Bequeath, but that personal and intimate view of God changed her life. Bequeath had a very clear message from God one day when a voice asked her, "In which book do you see me as your Father?" And Bequeath answered, "The Bible." On December 24th, 1966, Bequeath officially became a Christian. Soon after, Bequeath felt God's calling to be baptized. Due to circumstances, it would be some time before anyone qualified could baptize her officially, so instead, Bequeath took action into her own hands. Bequeath baptized herself in the bathtub at her house. Once someone became available, Bequeath was also officially baptized. After this, Bequeath no longer kept her faith a secret. She shared the news with her family members and friends, and as she expected, she was ostracized. Shunned by her family, Bequeath only had her daughter, grandson, and servants left to be with her. Bequeath began receiving threatening notes as well once the news got out to the public. One day, Bequeath smelled something odd, and when she went to check what it is, she found that someone had tried to light her house on fire. Fortunately, with the help of her servants, they were able to put the fire out, and no one was harmed. Although Bequeath didn't want to flee, she humbled herself and submitted to God's plan for her. God gave Bequeath the provisions to flee the country with her grandson. Sponsored by Samaritan's Purse and Billy Graham, Bequeath flew to the United States, where she spoke at Billy Graham revival crusades and other events. A lesson that can be learned from Bequeath's story is that we should constantly seek God and depend solely on him. Bequeath knew that when she had gone astray from God's plan, she described the sensation as God's presence leaving her. When this happened, Bequeath would backtrack, find out exactly what she had done, and make it right. Bequeath shares many times that God humbled her in her book. One example of this was when Bequeath was being threatened. At first, she was very stubborn and did not want to leave her home, but she quickly realized that that was not God's plan for her. Bequeath told God that if he provided what she needed to go to America, she would go. Contrary to what Bequeath had thought would happen, God did provide, and she fled to America with her grandson. Another example when Bequeath was humbled by God was when Bequeath bought 100 Bibles and tried to distribute them. She would often find them in the trash and tossed aside. Disheartened, Bequeath asked God why he wasn't using her. God's reply was very clear. He said, "Seek my presence, not results." Bequeath was once again reminded that she was not in charge and that the only thing she needed to do was seek and submit to God. Bequeath's story is one that you don't hear too often. Most people don't get visions or hear realistically clear voices from God. Yet even though God spoke so clearly to her, she still had to be constantly reminded that he had everything in control. We can all learn from Bequeath and try to depend on God completely, just as she tried to do.